Hey, good morning. Good morning. All right. So it's funny. So if you're following us on Instagram, um, you probably saw a post that said that gas prices were approaching $4 a gallon nationwide. Um, and it's funny because we scheduled that post like Sunday. And by the time it went live on Wednesday, gas prices nationwide were already like 420. So prices are going up super fast. And I don't see any relief in sight. So I wanted to do something where I talk a little bit about a ton of different ways to save money in your budget, because I know that some of you, some of you are having trouble with this, especially with the price of gas going up so fast. So I'm going to talk about a whole bunch of different strategies. Actually, I jotted some stuff down. And so if I keep looking down, I'm referring to my notes, but I want to make sure that this is helpful for you guys. Okay, so we're going to talk about some stuff, about some home stuff, some cooking stuff, some saving gas. So one thing is batch your trips. Okay, so what Jeff and I do is we really think about, what do we need and do we need it right now? And what we try to do is we try to add things to the list before we run out of things, so that it's not a rush to go out and get it. So we're trying to only shop like once or twice a week. And we're trying to batch a lot of things around that. Now, one way that you can do that, especially if you've got kids, is a lot of stores have pickup. So Target has pickup, Sam's Club has pickup, BJ's has pickup, Walmart has pickup. So there are a lot of different stores that give you, even like Bed Bath & Beyond has curbside pickup. World Market has curbside pickup. There are a lot of stores that you can order from and then go pick up. And so you could do a lot of your shopping in a batch. And so that's kind of what we do, is we'll schedule things and then we'll do all our pickups. If you are going to go into stores, go to plazas that have lots of stores that you need and then walk between the stores, right? The thing that we're trying to eliminate is we're trying to eliminate you parking the car, getting back in the car, starting the car. And so if you can go to a plaza that has lots of different things that you need, then you can eliminate a lot of driving. One thing too is, like, if you can walk to stores that are nearby. So we have a grocery store that we can walk to. There's a Walmart neighborhood market and there's a Publix. And so we walk to the store quite a bit. I can walk to the bank. And so we try to do that as much as we can. I know it's cold in some places right now, but that is something that we do quite a bit. I want to caution you about price hunting. It's really, so I'll tell you a story. So my husband would want to drive like 20 minutes from our house to save money on gas. And the thing that we realized is, by the time he drove a 40-minute round trip to save a couple dollars on our gas, he lost 40 minutes, and all of the savings that he achieved from driving 20 minutes to get the gas were gone in the gas that he used to get there. So I think sometimes we get so caught up in trying to save money, whether it's on our gas or on our groceries by going to like multiple grocery stores. Sometimes a lot of those savings are actually lost. And so what I'd recommend that you do is that look at all of, if you're grocery hunting, look at all of the sales for the week and say, okay, is there one store where I can get everything that I need, or most things that I need, and a lot of the things I need are on sale? Okay. One thing too, so, and I was actually alerted to this by the passionate penny pincher. Most grocery stores have a cycle, and that most of the major things that you need will go on sale over a 12-week period. And so if you know that, then what you can do is, stock up on about 3 months worth of things that you use on a regular basis and just always buy them on sale. So I do this, we shop at Publix a lot. I get all of our condiments on sale and I buy like 3 months worth. I will do that for things like tortillas, and I will freeze them. So if you look at like the cycle, a lot of the snack foods go on sale once every 12 weeks. And it's interesting because you'll learn, right, all the things that go on sale. And then just, get enough of those. Like, I know Publix does like BOGO deals and things like that. So you can really stock up and then not buy it again until the next time it goes on sale. So that's really good. So limit your price hunting. Don't go around to like, 4 or 5 different stores, because you're going to waste gas, and you're probably going to end up losing a lot of those savings that you would get from going around to the different stores. Cancel any services that you don't need. A lot of us have excess streaming services, excess services that we're paying for. And so make sure that you really go through your bank statements and check to make sure that there aren't any services that you're paying for that you aren't really using. And even if you just use them occasionally, what I recommend you do is cancel them and see if you miss them, right? And then ask yourself, like, what I always do for us is I say, like, is it worth, how much is Netflix now? Like $12 a month? Is it worth $12 for me to be able to watch this show? Right? So like, if there's something that comes out on Netflix, do we really want to watch it enough that we're going to spend $12 on it? Right? And sometimes we'll say yes. What I recommend that you do is, if you turn on a streaming service, that you pay for the, subscribe to the streaming service and then turn it off again. So you've got 30 days to watch it, but then you won't get billed for it again. Because I think a lot of times we subscribe to something, we watch something on it, and then we forget about it, and then we keep paying for it. And so that's one thing that we've done, is we just kind of go through and we cancel all of our services, and then we see which ones we miss. Okay. Now's a really good time to call around and ask for discounts with different service providers that you have, with your cable company, with your cell phone company, with your insurance company, especially car and auto, and just go through and ask for discounts. And if they won't give you a discount, see if there's a discount if you pay cash, see if you can get interest rate reductions if you're paying down credit card debt, all of those things. Shop, and then if they won't give you a discount, shop your services. Okay, so call around to other places and see if you can get better deals. I know that it's a little bit time consuming, but if you can save $300 a year on your car insurance and your homeowner's insurance, then, spending an hour doing that, that's equivalent to what you would make, as a bookkeeper. So that's a good use of time. Limit meat as the main component of your meals. So right now we're doing a lot of things with chicken that's chopped up in it, or ground beef that is in a meal, rather than making, a chicken breast the main component of a meal, or a pork chop the main component of a meal, just because meat is so expensive right now. And every week we do some meals that are really inexpensive. So we did, and I've got to find this recipe for folks in bookkeeper training schools. They were asking me about it. I've got a stuffed pepper casserole recipe from the Betty Crocker website that is super good and super inexpensive and just makes a ton of food. Think about things like, spaghetti with red sauce. Think about things like, let's see, spaghetti with meat sauce works really good. Grilled cheese with tomato soup is one that's really good. Macaroni and cheese, but we're thinking about things like, what can we make? And I'd love to know your suggestions as well of, some meals that you make that are super inexpensive. I even made this thing, and it's funny because we used to eat this like in grade school when I was a kid. Mashed potatoes with turkey gravy or chicken gravy. So what you do is you take chicken or turkey, and you chop it up into little pieces, and you make gravy, right? And you put it in the gravy. And so you get all the flavor, and you're getting chicken or turkey in it, but it's not like you're eating a gigantic chicken breast. So it helps you stretch out your chicken. And then we serve that with vegetables or a salad. That is like super, super frugal food, but it's really good. I also make, Jeff calls it chicken goop, where I put chicken breasts in the crock pot. And then I usually, make some kind of sauce, to cook it in, and we'll serve that over noodles or potatoes or something like that. So that's always a big winner in our house. Pretty much if you make mashed potatoes in our house, that's pretty much a win for Jeff. Also, I'm a big fan of, you can Google this. There's a book called Artisan Bread in 5 minutes a day. And if you Google Artisan Bread in 5 minutes a day recipe, you'll actually get their blog. And it will teach you how to make this. But essentially what you do is you make a bucket of dough. You kind of throw it together and you put it in the fridge, and then you pull out dough and bake it all week long. And you can use it for pizzas. You can use it to make, these beautiful little things of bread. But, if you go buy artisan bread at the store, usually a loaf of artisan bread is like $6 or $7. You can make it at home for less than $1. And I think any meal where you put fresh bread on the table is just like a better meal, right? And it's another way to kind of stretch, stretch the rest of what you're serving. So, these are some of my, some of the tips I'm thinking about, that we're actually going through too, and we're thinking about as gas prices go up. But we're batching our trips. We're going to plazas with lots of stores that we need. We're walking more to the store when we can. We're limiting our price hunting, so we're not going to 4 different stores to go grocery shopping. I'm really trying to stay in one store, or going to park my car, and then if I can walk to multiple stores from there. We're canceling services we don't need. We're asking for discounts. We're shopping for services that won't give us discounts. We're limiting meat as our mains. We're making a couple inexpensive meals every single week. I'm going to start, I'm starting to make bread again, which is pretty awesome. That makes Jeff happy. And I'm just really thinking about, like, before I go out to Target, or before I go out to a store, say, do I really need to do this right now? Right. And we're reading Profit First in Empower Bookkeeper Network. It's our book club book this quarter. And one of the things that one of the stories he tells in the book is about this guy who, whenever he would need something, he would say, oh, I'll just get it tomorrow. And he would see how far out he could go before buying that thing. And I think that's a really cool strategy, because oftentimes we're like, oh, I need this thing, and we create a trip to go get it. And then we add other stuff, especially if you go to Target, there's always things to buy at Target. And so his thing is, if I don't go into the store, if I push this off, then, it's, I'll end up saving myself some money. And so I think that that's a really cool strategy, say, I'm just gonna get this tomorrow. Now, clearly there's some things you can't do that with, like toilet paper. But that's where, knowing when things go on sale at your local store, or, it's still the least expensive place to buy toilet paper is one of the warehouse clubs. So we will, we'll put in a pickup order at one of the warehouse clubs and get our toilet paper that way. But again, one of the things, and I've talked about this on previous, where's my phone? So when you think of something that you need, okay, use the reminders app on your phone, whether you've got a Google phone or an Android phone, and put it in the phone. We have a shopping list. Jeff and I both have access to it. And we just keep a list. And then typically what we'll do is, like, we'll go out like once a week to get all the things that we need. Okay. And make sure that when you're out at the store and you're buy enough to get you through the week. Right. So if you know your family goes through 3 gallons of milk in a week, don't buy 1 gallon, right? Let's think about like, what am I going to need for the week so I don't have to go back out and get, and get more milk. Okay. Like really think about planning ahead and what do I need for my family to get through the week. Okay. Because milk is not going to go bad in a week, right? Usually the shelf life for milk is at least 2 weeks. And so if you know you're going to go through that milk, get the milk. Like we buy milk in 1.5 gallons. And that gets us through, that usually gets us through about 2 weeks. Okay, so that I'm not having to buy milk constantly. So about 1/2 gallon of milk, you'd be like every 4 days we're going out to buy milk, right? So, all right. So I hope that this stuff was helpful for you. I'd love to know what your tips are. How are you saving money to get through the higher gas prices and the higher price of everything right now? Would love to know how you're doing that as well. All right. So let me know if you guys have any questions. You can always go to askkristen.net, ask any questions that you have. This month we're talking about money and taxes. And so I'm going to be on probably later tonight, answering some questions that we've gotten about how to file your taxes as a small business owner. So look out for that. And if you have any questions of your own, feel free to submit those at askkristen.net. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Take care.